Junk debt and stocks are making new 52-week highs. Dollar may be bottoming following a support break. Gold pullback would be a buying opportunity as a result. Oil hits 3 months high, hopefully not on anything terribly geopolitical, and we will look at the trade that got away. BridgeBio Pharma. Stay tuned until the end of this presentation. My name is Alexander, and this is a market recap for MasterChartsTrading.com for July 21st, 2023. Again, please don't forget to like, share, and comment on this video. This will help us tremendously to promote this video. If you're interested, send me a message. I might have an opportunity coming up for a referral credit. So if you refer clients to me, I may be able to credit you as much as 45%. So send me a message. Throughout the presentation, I'll be using my proprietary MasterChartsTrading.com price action indicators. You can find out more about them by going to the link in the description. You can also sign up on my site. Let's get started. S&P 500. So these are indicators on the slide. These are green, blue, red, and yellow lines are the indicators. S&P 500, since the breakout, okay, notice this breakout, is all I really need to know to find out whether or not a stock, ETF, or any other security is in an uptrend or a downtrend. Do I want to be buying or want to be selling it? S&P 500 stocks in general right now are in an uptrend because of a breakout where I'm hovering that occurred on April 13th, 2023 of this year. Since then, stocks have moved pretty much non-stop, about 10% higher. Depending where you look at this, beginning of this uptrend, you can, I actually caught most of this move, for stocks. So this is my move that I caught for QQQ. I bought NASDAQ QQQ back in January. It was actually near the bottoms. But to catch moves like this is mighty difficult. Most of the time we're trying to look for a breakout or a continuation of a stock move. So there is a saying, buy high and sell higher. So this is a trend trading, basically, and we have been doing it by buying stocks that are breaking out. For example, S&P 500 broke out in April. Currently, it is hitting 52-week highs. As a 52-week highs, we can look on the weekly charts. So weekly simply means that each candlestick, this green or red funny-looking things are called candlesticks. They simply show open, high, low, close. If you're not sure how that works, just look up open, high, low, close, and it will tell you exactly how candlesticks are formed. For our purposes, we're looking at these are previous highs from December 2021. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, just show you, these are pandemic lows back in 2020. You guys remember pandemic? Yeah, it was not that long ago. It was, just a few years ago. I remember I lived through it. It was nasty. And after that, we hit 52-week highs back in January of, all-time highs in January of 2022 here, or December 21. Then Russia invaded Ukraine, and then we have this nasty selling that ended finally in October of 2022 last year. Since then, market has turned around. Now, it turned around for our purposes as late as April of this year. There's the breakout where I'm hovering. That means that at this point, unequivocally, we're going to say that stock market is in an uptrend, bull trend, uptrend. So notice here right now, today is closed. Today is Friday, July 21st. We closed at 52-week highs. Next level of resistance is pretty obvious. It's highs from March 2022, right there where I'm hovering. They are about 2% away. So obviously very strong move, especially the last few weeks. Notice we just been doing nothing but going higher, pretty much since March of this year. So 2% for stocks is not a lot. We could possibly hit it next week, next trading week. And then we're looking at record highs. Record highs are 6% away. So it's, pretty close, right? Stocks, hitting 52-week highs and all-time highs are actually obviously very good news. So right now, I kept thinking that we're gonna get a pullback of some sort. We're not getting any pullbacks. Pretty much any, even a tiny little, pullback. Like for example, we got here in, late June. It was immediately bought out. This week, really nothing. That's not even a pullback. This is just a couple of red candlesticks. So yes, wherever we are indeed overextended, we are indeed overbought, but within a bigger concept of a bull market, of uptrend, overbought is a normal condition. Yes, within, during the bull markets, overbought happens all the time. Indicators such as stochastic indicators, such as MACD, such as RSI, and a million other momentum oscillators will be overbought. It doesn't mean that we're going to get a pullback, right? So we're looking basically to find stocks that are at least somewhat oversold and buy those. Right now, to buy the indices would be not in the risk is too high for me personally. So this was the ideal entry back in April. Perfect entry would be near the lows, but it's very difficult to catch those lows. So once the uptrend was reestablished in April of this year, we just started buying. So as of right now, yes, we're overbought, but at the same time, we're in a bull market, so it's a normal condition. Stocks and high yield bonds, these are junk debt right there, are highly related or correlated. When stocks go up, junk debt also goes up, and vice versa. So right now we're looking at high yield bonds, JNK. JNK also broke out above the blue line, so by definition it is now in an uptrend. If you need my indicators, you can simply find out by going in the description. 52-week highs for high yield bonds as well. I think it's excellent news for the general market. We can look on the weekly chart as well. Here is the junk debt. Now notice that this chart is adjusted for dividends. So on the lower right hand corner where I'm hovering, it says ADJ and it's blue. That means it was pressed. If I unclick it, notice the chart would look different. So I like to use it as adjusted. So because we are this, for example, this security JNK, pays out a very large dividend, and it becomes a part of the return. So with the dividend, we're definitely hitting 52-week highs. Good news for the stock market, and good news for risk assets. All right, let's switch gears now. We're looking at dollar currency index, DXY. Currency DXY is the ticker symbol. You can trade this security in the United States by using ticker symbol UUP. However, notice that the shape of the curve is about the same, but if notice where the current price is currently above the yellow line. Now, if we go to DXY, the current price is below the yellow line. So I always use the underlying security to analyze pretty much anything. Like, for example, if you want to analyze, if you want to trade TQQQ, which is a leveraged NASDAQ, right? You don't want to analyze TQQQ. You want to analyze QQQ itself, all right? Because if you analyze TQQQ, it's built using, I believe, options or futures. I forget exactly what. and they have what's called a decay or theta decay, time decay, and as a result, the prices do not exactly follow the underlying security. Right? In general, I don't recommend using leveraged ETFs at all. If you know what you're doing, you could potentially use options, but also you have to be super careful and size your positions correctly, because options move at least 3 times as much as underlying stocks. All right, let's go back to DXY. DXY dollar currency index currently is in a downtrend. How do I know? So dollar currency index entered the downtrend right there where I'm hovering on January 12th, 2023 of this year, by closing below this red support resistance line. So this is all I really needed to know. Before it entered a bull market or an uptrend by closing above this blue support resistance line on July 13th, 2021. I'm reading it right off the chart. I don't need to think, I just look at the chart, okay? And it's been an uptrend for a while. We've been, looking at it, we've been trading it, and we were not long gold. Sometimes we were short gold miners. Right now, the situation flipped. I will explain why we were short gold miners and why we're now long gold miners. Now the dollar is in a downtrend. The dollar is getting weaker, okay? In fact, last week, on the 12th of July, right there, it broke below recent lows from February of this year, and made fresh 52-week lows. This is a terrible news for multiple reasons, and I've shown this chart in the past, so I'm going to show it to you again. Here it is on the weekly chart for the dollar, DXY. So notice this pattern where I'm hovering. It starts in January of this year, the low in January of this year, the high in March of this year, and once again the low in April of this year, another high, or lower high in this case, in May, and now a break below those previous lows. Okay, so this is a kind of classical pattern, possibly, I don't know, inverted cup and handle or something. And normal way to estimate the move down after the following the support break is to look on the depth of this pattern. The depth of this pattern is about 4.5% to 5%. So it's reasonable for dollar to continue lower, around 5%. By extension, gold should benefit. Okay, gold is opposite of the dollar, because notice XAU, where I'm hovering, gold spot divided by US dollar. So if the bottom part of this equation, US dollar, I just showed it to you, it's getting cheaper, it's getting smaller. Okay, it used to be like 105, it became 99. Okay, so if the bottom part of this equation is getting cheaper, getting smaller, the top part of this equation, the gold, will continue higher. This is exactly what's happening. Dollar, notice that gold was in a downtrend. We were short sometimes. We were short gold miners sometimes. Notice the downward facing arrows. Finally, we turned around here in January of this year, 2023, and now we are in an uptrend for gold. Okay, we're actually very close to the all-time highs for gold. This is the latest opportunity where I'm hovering in June 29th. Now, if I'm correct, and dollar will bounce, a little bit more, possibly towards this yellow line. I'm guessing like that much maybe. So we're looking into August, possibly a bounce into mid-August to continue. Then dollar will pull back. Now it should pull back towards this blue line. Currently it's at around 1900. So if gold pulls back towards 1900, it will be a great buying opportunity. So I would be thinking about buying again at around 1900. I actually own some gold miners. I own GDX right now. I'm going to show you GDX. I bought GDX back in June of this year. I'm still holding it, but I'm actually already I moved my stop to entry. I might get stopped out, but then I will just re-enter again You know, if, like I said, dollar will move even a little bit higher, then gold-related things like gold miners will come under pressure. And it's okay. I'll get stopped out at price, at my cost, and then I will re-enter again if if the circumstances warrant it. So at this point, dollar, I'm looking for dollar to continue at least a little bit of a bounce, and for gold to pull back. But once again, if it pulls back towards 1900, I think it would be a very good buying opportunity, which we're waiting for. Very briefly, I wanted to mention oil. I don't really like the way it's acting, or rather, depending on what what your position is on oil. I'm just afraid that something is happening and something bad might happen again worldwide, and that would cause oil price to spike. So oil hit a 52-week low. Let me look at the weekly chart for a second. Oil hit a 52-week low, actually a multi-year low, right there in May of this year. And it kind of did not pierce through this barrier at around $65 to $68. So you can kind of see this attempted moves lower. Here's one in March. Here's another very strong attempt to move lower for oil in May, on May 4th, and it didn't go through. So the bears were stopped. And then again several times here, one on June 1st, June 12th, and then June 27th here, 1, 2, 3. Three times it kind of really tried to make towards May lows, and it failed, and now it rallied. So this is a relatively, it looks like there is kind of like a bottom around $65 for oil. This is United States light crude oil, by the way. Brent is similar. So looks like the bottom most likely has been hit for now, and we're at least bouncing towards this 80s levels. So notice the way the indicators were curving down, and also I'm projecting right now the indicators into the future. They're going to continue to curve down. They also notice that indicators were very wide apart as late as June of this year, and now they're getting closer together. So this happens when a trend change, and as a result of this indicators getting closer together, a trend change becomes easier. So all we need for oil is to move another 8% higher, or even less. If we're going to be talking sometime in August, we're looking for about 8%, 7.5% move to enter a new bull market, new uptrend. All right, so we're looking at a new uptrend for oil, not that far off. So around $87. We're currently at 77. So $10 higher, and we're looking at a new uptrend for oil. At that point, could we hit hundreds? Yes, it's possible. So that's what kind of worries me, just from a personal perspective of human living on Earth. If we have oil again going into an uptrend, does that mean we're in for some sort of a shock? Or hopefully it has to do mostly with the economical pressures, as in demand is getting higher, but at least the supplies are not getting blown up, for example. Hopefully not by nuclear weapons, because I'm monitoring what's happening in Ukraine right now, and it looks bad, especially with the Russia pulling out of the grain deal and the potential famine in Africa. Hopefully none of this will happen. So looking at oil, once again, we're monitoring very closely. We are long some of the oil related. We're long XLE Energy. Here's XOM, ExxonMobil. Alerts were sent here from my subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, sign up. XLE Energy ETF. We're also long, so potential move higher there because of oil prices, or possibly because of just correlations. And now I want to give you another one, and this is from from a title of The One That Got Away. So this is BridgeBio Pharma. So I have a scanner running in the background, and occasionally I get, notifications about various stocks that are breaking out. So specifically, I'm looking for this pattern. So I'm just going to show it to you, what sort of pattern I am looking for. So this stock, it's relatively, new stock, but I'm ideally looking for the following pattern. I'm looking for an all-time lows, or at least multi-year lows, set relatively recently, like within a year. So yes, there's the all-time low where I'm hovering for this stock that happened in May of 2022. And since this is a startup, relatively new, they just started like in 2019. So all-time low, let me see, this was $13, and an all-time low was at $4. Okay, so and remember that the initial public offering was at $29. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. Not all public offerings, IPOs, go anywhere. So I'm looking for this type of pattern. I'm looking for a stock that recently hit multi-year lows, ideally, or all-time lows. I'm looking for a stock that had very wide, the indicators were super wide apart. See how wide apart they are? The 270%. And then sometime, recently, these indicators narrowed like dramatically. Okay, so notice what happened. The indicators were super wide apart, then they narrowed dramatically to almost nothing, like 80% apart. Okay. Then finally, it broke out on that date, where I'm hovering on the 2nd of February. It broke out above this blue support resistance line. And I mean, you can learn about the stocks, like what they do, but I've never heard about the stock before, BridgeBio Pharma. You can spend hours, if not days, doing research on various securities, and sometimes you will be correct because you've done your fundamental research, and sometimes those fundamental research would be a waste of time. And honestly, I have not yet found a consistent way to figure out, okay, if I will know what the stock is doing, what the company is doing, and I have done my research and they are doing that particular thing, then most likely the stock will go higher. Vice versa, sometimes the company is doing something that doesn't even make sense to me and they are still breaking out higher. Okay, so in this case, I'm not really worried about what the company is doing. I'm simply looking at the technical pattern. And once again, the technical pattern that I'm looking for is multi-year lows recently. The indicators that I'm using, my indicators, are hugely far apart, and then they narrow. Okay, so at the time of when they narrow, I want to see a breakout. And that breakout did occur on 2nd of February. It came up in my scanner. Now, sometimes I act on this, sometimes I send to my subscribers, sometimes I like just totally miss it. Sometimes you just kind of look at it and you're like, oh, this looks like a good stock, maybe I should buy it. And then you like just miss it. So if you, since subscribers, my subscribers, they get weekly videos. And for example, this week, I'm going to talk about all of these various securities that some of them I've never even heard about, like Azul Airlines, Caravan, sort of heard of Caravan, okay, Innovix, UiPath, ProQR Therapeutics, QuantumScape. Have you ever heard of it? SkyNexus? All of those names, I've never heard about them. However, they have a very similar pattern. They have similar pattern what I just described. They hit multi-year lows or 52-week lows. They broke out. Now we need to just buy them without thinking too much. So this is one of those stocks that you just don't think, you just buy it. So you notice this upward facing arrows. Notice they're purple, means that I did not actually send an alert out. If I send an alert out, then like for example for Caravana, I actually sent an alert out recently. So I'm going to show it to you just for a second. And there it is. This is an actual alert to my subscribers, and literally it popped 30% in just a few days. So you got your target. I would move my stop to enter at this point. So from, for example, July 18th to July 19th, it popped 30%. With BridgeBio, it's a different story because unfortunately we didn't buy it, but I wanted to show you just my thinking. And if you bought it anywhere around this blue line, that's all you needed to do, just without thinking, buy it. Then on the 17th of July, a few days ago, they announced some sort of positive results, okay, of some sort of a, third stage research, stage 3 studies. Would you know about this in advance? No, you wouldn't. I mean, you need to really follow it, and maybe you'll get in. But for the normal people, that's just not possible. So if you were able to get in, huge congratulations, because the 129% pop in literally like just a few days. But what I wanted to show you for this potential trade example, is just the way my indicators work and the way I think, and I try to look for stocks that are breaking out. So BridgeBio is one of those stocks that unfortunately got away. All right, head over to MasterChartsTrading.com, one word, click on sign up for one of the products. So again, I have the trading indicators. These are the lines in the chart, the green, blue, red, and yellow lines. They will help you tremendously with trading pretty much anything under the sun. Sign up for a newsletter also. So newsletter, I send out daily alerts about the securities I trade, securities I would consider buying or selling. Remember, I'm not any kind of financial advisor. I'm just a guy who kind of likes to talk about stocks and trade stocks. So also I send out alerts about various securities that are speculative in nature. Most of the stocks do not have any earnings, but they do make it to my newsletter on a daily basis. I send out a weekly video every weekend for the subscribers, and also right, and the weekly video for the subscribers is also sent out. The newsletters and the indicators, the package deal is the best to get, so $59.95 per month. Let me know if you guys want me to put back the yearly pricing. I think it might be worth it. You'll save a few months worth of pricing. So let me know in the comments. Again, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, share this video, and if you have any comments, let me know. Thank you for watching, and have another great trading week. Bye-bye.